All right, sorry guys. Yeah, now you can hear me. Okay, good. We're all set. So welcome to the live trading webinar today with JTrader Joseph, stocks trader. He'll come in a few minutes, and the it'll be live trading as he does every Wednesday. This is part of our educational course or our webinar series here. And he does offer mentoring and education, so you can reach out to him. I'll put this into the chat for you. We need to go through the disclosures. It's important you understand exactly what's going on in here with the disclosures, so please listen. The general disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Live trading is in simulation, demo paper trading mode, and strictly for educational purposes. Live trading executed in simulation cannot accurately represent realistic trading performance. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security nor lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so we will wait here a minute or a few minutes here before Joseph comes in, and let's take a look at these markets here and see what's going on. We're looking at the S&P E-mini. Guys, we had now it's data here that is the driver. No question about it. It's the CPI. However, there's a few different things going on in here in the bigger picture that we've talked about all week long so far, and also last week, all week long. Let's look at the bigger picture here. We drew this line in last Monday, not a few days ago, but the week before. And we're looking for a test up into these areas here. This is where the sellers are up here, and we see the tremendous drop. We see that some strong buying coming in to test this area here. Well, we've been testing it. And then we can also look at the structure within this daily chart in here. Now, obviously, this is a bit of hindsight. I thought what was going to probably likely happen was we're going to test up into here. We're going to find some sellers because there were sellers here previously. Well, we found some, but the pullbacks here were to these kind of previous swings down here and above it. Structurally, we are in an uptrend. Okay, we broke above here, but we came back into the range. You can see this wick here and the buying pressure in here. Let's look at back 1 month. You can look at this wick here and the buying pressure, right? So what we're talking about in here is that there's still buyers in this. And we can see the move to the upside here. Now, it's on data, right? This is CPI data today, and we know that the markets are extremely sensitive here to what's going on with inflation, with the consumer sentiment, the CPI, GDP, etc., and well, even in the employment numbers, etc. A little more convoluted there because of the employment numbers being very, very strong, but kind of recessionary environment here with GDP contraction. Nonetheless, what ended up happening here was the move higher. We had outlined, what was it, on Monday? Yeah, it was on Monday. Way up here, we outlined this. This was 41.74 up here. And we noted a lot of icebergs buying up there. Okay, well, they're in profit. If they didn't get out on this move down, well, and there was quite a bit. There was 10, 11,000 icebergs on the way down. Anyway, if they're still in it, they're certainly in profit now. We've tested 4,200. So let's take a look here and just the overall bullish structure here is what I'm talking about. Even though that we're up into these areas on that daily, if we look back, and the sellers here, the buying pressure is above it. Now, Good question here is the swing up here at 4,200. We're watching closely here, right? We already tested into it here, as you guys can see, and we've slowed down here quite a bit. All right, we see some icebergs in here now too on the other side, quite a bit. Quite a bit still buying here. This is really turning into quite a battle here at 4,200. All right, so you can see it here, here's the data, I mean, just it dwarfed anything pre-market. You can see them pulling. No one wants to take the risk before the numbers come out, pulling across the board, pulling across the board. Here's our spike. Where did it go? To these guys that stay in the book up here at 41.85. We get a bit of a pullback to some of the high volume nodes in here, and we continue on up to 4,200. The figure, okay, we talked about the figure, you know, Monday was frustrating. Yesterday was a lot easier, and now today we have the follow through from that frustrating day on Monday, and the move to the upside that we were kind of looking for on Monday. Anyway, let's read the order flow now and see what's going on, and then JTrader should be in a few minutes or so. Okay, so and let me know if you have any questions, right? So yeah, let's see here. We'll start off with who's in control. We talked about this yesterday, and we had a good discussion about it. So let's just start right there, and look at different time frames in here. Okay, and we'll just zoom out. Obviously, who's in control? The buyers here for the day. No question about that. Okay, on up into 4,200. Now let's take a look at and kind of zero in on some smaller time frames. Some selling coming in here, buying coming right back. Okay, selling coming in, and now where are the buyers? Okay, we saw them earlier. The sellers are certainly in here, and sellers are in here again too. A bit of buying in here. So this is not really, we don't really have a clear picture. Okay, there's selling, there's buying, there's selling, there's buying. Let me mark them up a little more clearly. This is a nice move on the sell side, okay, and it continued. And then here we got the buyers that come in, okay, on up here, and then we see the sellers come in here again. Okay, and then here's a small bit of buying coming in here. All right, so look at the dots, look at the bars. That's what we want to understand, and then moving price away from an area. That's what we're looking for, okay, to determine who's in control. Okay, moving that market. For you volume profile guys, you know, you're looking for trying to establish outside of the profile a new range, a new value area. Okay, and we're right back in the middle of it here. Okay, so that's the condition right now, and we don't really have too much insight here. Okay, we're just marking it up and we're reading it. Okay, we know there's a lot of liquidity here at 4,200, 02, 05, I think 10 as well. Yeah, up at 10. Okay, so let's we'll just continue to watch this, and we look for someone to take control and move it outside of this profile, of this value area. We're right in the middle of value right now. Okay, right smack dab in the middle here. This is the high volume node, and it's just kind of going back and forth in here right now. All right, so that is the current market. Okay, here's some exhaustion, here's some sellers. You know, maybe they can move it down in the short time frame down to here, 90, maybe a little bit lower, 88. See them trying to move it away here, but we're still in the range here, so maybe it's just a test down to kind of these areas bottom of the range. Okay, some high liquidity coming in at 95. Yeah, looking for sellers to push it down to about 90 and maybe 88 here. Actually, the swing is right here at what, 90, it's 90, 90 and 3/4, 90 and a half, something like that. Okay, there's our move into 90. Let's see if there's still more selling pressure here. Okay, down to 88. All right, so we don't really know what's, the seller's trying to take control here. This is a good, if you're, a good trade management strategy. Now, this is not trade recommendation. Just make sure we get this straight. It's a good area if we're looking for taking this down to the bottom of the range, take some profit. Okay, if you're looking for a runner, move your stop to break even. Or you can, since we don't really know kind of who's in control in here, this is a great range bound trade to the bottom of the range. Take all your profit. These are considerations. You're trying to read this and ascertain who's in control, who might be moving this market. You can see we didn't get up here to this previous swing here. So it kind of gives a nod to the sellers here for them to kind of break this range and try to trade back down to about here, okay, 85 or so. This liquidity here, maybe even 80, right? So if that's the case, then yeah, you'd be looking for your runner here, right? So we're just reading the market structure, the swings, and the order flow within it, okay, the transactions within it, and also the auction. Okay, they offered down here at a lower level around 95, and we found sellers here. They're doing it again here right now around our 90 level, a little bit lower, 89, and we're finding some sellers here too. All right, you want to take a look at Apple, Phil? Sure. I mean, we can take a look at it, but we're going to be going through JTrader is going to be going through a lot of stocks. And let's just zoom out here. Let's take a look at Apple all the way out, and then we'll look at the S&P, and we'll zoom all the way out too. Okay, so and just comparing here.
Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Joseph. How are you?
Good morning, beautiful buddy. Good morning, traders. Glad to be over here.
So why don't you? We're very glad to have you. So let me see if I can grab your stream here. There you are. And we'll pop this out. Okay. Great.
All right, let me know when we can start.
Yeah, we're all set. And oh, let me get rid of my mug here. Hold on. Ah, much better. Okay. Go ahead, Joseph. Take it away.
Okay, so good morning, traders. Data this morning. Hope you were looking and you were waiting. Remember what we had at 2 o'clock, the data over here. So CPI, big push on ES, big push on the market. I was already trading at that time, and I was waiting to see data, which came around 2:30, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe
8:30 East Coast time.
Yeah, sorry, my 2:30. Yes, exactly. your 8:30. And we saw the same push. ES, Bitcoin, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, the overall market pushing very strong. So I was watching, and I couldn't grab a fill over here on ES. It was super fast. And at the same time, I was on all of these. So Meta, Amazon, Tesla, and then we also had some small caps. I like these moves, but then of course I need to enter in the pullback. And over here, the first pullback that we had was just this peak over here, around 41.89, into this main support. And then this morning we started to consolidate over here. We had two long setups over here. And at the same time, I was watching Meta. I was looking at Tesla, which faded. I was looking at Amazon, and I was looking at Baba. So I would like to start over here with Meta. And unfortunately, I was not able to take this setup. It was an incredible morning, really great morning, but I missed two obvious trades. One is Meta that I missed, and one is Tesla. It's two of the best stocks that I'm trading, and that they give me like the best results. So morning push, pop out of the gate, 176 and 50. Morning push just below this high liquidity area on Bookmap at 177. We've made a low and then a lower high. Well, this is a clear entry setup for me. The reason why I didn't take it, the reason why I missed it, well, I was busy on other three stocks at the same time. So we can call over here the first high, lower high. This is our high, and then we had over here the lower high, and then we start like to fail on this main support, number 3. And then over here start forming higher lows, number 4, just over here. So you can see the same structure. We start seeing over here sellers. Look, these gray dots, these are my sellers. And then over here, some buyers over here that dip around 174, 174 and 40. More dip over here into this low at 174. And then we start seeing really buyers exploding over here on this pattern. And this pattern over here is a reversal pattern. So we're forming over here always lower lows, but at a certain point we start forming higher lows. This is what you can see is I call it a reversal three-way pattern. 1, 2, 3. We have over here this last curl break of the VWAP. This is the pattern push over here 174, 5 and 60, and then uptrend. So the long that I missed was exactly this dip. J-Lines was simply perfect, exactly with this high liquidity area. You can see over here the soak, and then start bouncing with the formation. So the three things that I like to have when I'm taking these dips is a J-line dip or a VWAP or a daily support or a fib retracement. And then we're going to look for pattern formation. We're going to look for absorption, ideally absorption on Bookmap. And then we're going to look for tape pushing. So I want to see, like, for example, in this case, dots formation. I want to see over here green prints. When I say green prints, mean like buyers, okay, stepping in the tape. And then I want to see the last thing, set of higher lows. So this is an ideal setup that we had this morning. And then big push over here, came up 5 points on Meta. Beautiful, 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 beautiful setup. As I said, I missed this morning, but very glad about the day. Now, we had, and we're going to watch more if Meta will give us other setups. So nice wash out over here. No trade for me yet. Why? Because we're still below this trend line. I want to see more consolidation over here, and then starting a curl and then a long over here. Or we get just into the dip in this washout. Otherwise, over here, reason to wait. Still below the VWAP. So let's continue to follow over here the price action. Some resistance 177. You can see just a rejection into this area of the VWAP. We want to see a reclaim of this level of VWAP consolidation, then push. You can see sellers over here, right? So sellers, they're placing 177, 177.09. So somebody wants to get filled more at 177.21. Then we're also going to look at Tesla. Remember the news. Elon Musk said that he was going to sell shares in case that he had to pay for the Twitter deal. But for now, let's focus over here on Meta. So first breakout, I don't enter on the breakouts. I always wait then for a dip. Some support over here, 5,000 shares at 177.09. So that's a very good first spot. We were to take a starter, 177.15. And just risking that 177.10. You can see over here now that the bid went away. So when it goes away, means you have to put your stop break even. And this is very important. Analyze where we have the buyer. All right. New buyer over here came 177.30. And then right away, they sold into it. And again, you can see traders, everything started from here. Breakdown of this main support of 176.20. Washout, reclaim of the level, and then push the upside. Now we can see still buyers, right? So remember, if you took the position over here on this dip, then you're putting your stop maximum break even. Always sell a first partial to pay yourself. More buyers, 176, 177.26. They're trying to hold it. And they're starting to curl over here. You can see this 177.50. There we are, curl breakout. And that's a push. Next level of resistance, 178. So up here. And now if you're in, for example, you can trail half of your position with each relative high. Okay, so low, low, higher, low, higher, low. That is your exit for half of the position. And until we start seeing these higher lows, we're gonna hold the entire position. So right now, this is the level. You can see I like this because we're still making an uptrend. We're not breaking this low. So that is right now the risk for 50% in the money. This is the 90 MA, so it's growing up. Seller over here in the 177.60. So probably somebody wants to take get filled. Yes, buyers in. You see, 1 second, they simply bottom out. Nice volume over here. Now raising again the relative low trail. That is our risk for 50%. They're still holding this dip. Just look over here, the 177.40. New buyer coming over here. So they're trying to hold this micro support. You can see the pattern formation over here. This is your pattern formation. So it seems like this descending triangle over here. So a possible continuation of the move, or trail for half position below over here, 177.40. So we're talking about risk management today. How to manage a position. Breakdown 177.40. And once you have the breakdown, you have to be quick. If you don't have like a trailing stop set with your broker, and then the remaining part, you put the stop to break even in order not to go from being green on a trade to being red and stopping out. So another washout over here. So a fast breakdown, and then right away reclaim, in this case of this 90 MA, the 177 and 90 MA. Buyers again in. But if you are long on this trade before, once we get to break even, stop immediately. Always have your protective stop in. Some move like this will go all the way up like we saw before. Some move will be only small scalps. I'm not going to trade anymore for today. I'm still holding short CLWT, still holding short SSNT. So we'll review after what we did on the small cap land. We're going to follow over here the entire process and risk management on big caps, in this case, Meta.
Joseph, what type of floats are you looking for when you're trading your small caps?
Everything, everything. So the best small caps tend to be, if we're looking for longs, between a nano flow, so below 1 million to 10, 15 million. Flows then between 10 and 30 million tend to be the best for shorting. But everything, basically really everything. This morning we had two small floats, relatively very small floats, which are beautiful faders. Beautiful faders. You still find buyers over here. Just look at these dips. They're holding dips every single time. We have this holding the dip, popping, holding the dip, popping. So we have still buyers on this tape. That's my main point. Okay, through this price section, you can see over here that we have buyers. They're looking for a breakout of here, 177.80. So let's look at that. Or buyers coming over here. Possible break and incoming. And the major liquidity is 178. So our resistance, 178. Which is also the level over here, the previous high. This setup was really beautiful this morning, Bruce. Perfect dip. Really a miss over here for me. I was not able to take it. But beautiful long push.
Yeah, that's picture perfect for you.
Yep.
But you were in already like 3 or 4 other positions.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to manage everything. And so there always will be some missed opportunities, so traders just simply accept them. It's normal, and just go to the next one and next one, and don't really focus back over here if you miss an opportunity.
Yeah, you're really good at that, Joseph. You don't kick yourself, you just move forward.
I mean, the market is giving so many setups, so I don't believe, uh, you know, you won't get a next opportunity even in the same day or the day after. Just, you have to have patience, and that's for me the most important thing. Yeah, I like to take these longs. This, for example, was 2 days ago, NVIDIA. Then yesterday we took in the same way uh, NVEX on that big earning miss. And this morning we had the same kind of washout over here, the same kind of first dip, and then push over here Meta. Meta that, if we look over here on an hourly chart, on a daily chart, this is a beautiful, beautiful, really bullish stock. I mean, the next target is going to be this 181, 183 area. So we have really the possibility to go to that area. Now let's follow over here 178. 12,000 shares, 11,000 shares. But the tape is still strong. They're still holding over here. And until we continue to make these higher lows, we're going to follow the trend. Another dip over here in this micro support, 177.50. Another dip. Let's see if they're going to reclaim it. Remember, traders, when we have these dips, doesn't mean it will fail. Generally, these dips in an uptrend are levels where I like to buy. So on the reclaim, for example, of this 90 MA, on the next bar, or sometimes you'll see a formation on 3 bars, then I start re-entering into the trade. You see over here again. So they make seem over here like if they're going to break down, they're going to fail, and then they're going to reclaim it. That's the reason why indicators are a guide. It doesn't mean that indicators are, I would say, the perfect timing or spot for your entry. For example, you could put a 13 EMA. A lot of traders will be using the 13, and you can see over here, even the 13, we go to dip. You can use the 20. So different approaches, right? Just use it as a guide, or don't use even nothing, and just simply have over here the order flow that really helps you out, especially on this transition. So you see over here the major of sellers, right? And then over here we start seeing buyers. And that's exactly what you have to look for. So I like these curls discontinuation. And now we're going to see if this is going to go to that 178, or we'll start to make, for example, lower highs, lower lows. Just looking at something else over here popping out in the scanners. No, not yet. And again, the approach to 178 is coming. When I see something like this, there's always some traders that ask me, Jay, should we short now at 178 because we have that heat map? So we short when there's a pattern. So not only because I see a heat map over here, I want to short. Imagine that you are long over here, and being that before there was a resistance over here, you decide to sell partial of your trades, partial of your position over here at 178. So you will be staying over here on the ask, waiting to get filled. That doesn't mean necessarily that you're looking for this to unwind, because you're holding still long and you want this to go higher to sell then 179 and then even 180. The same approach over here. So for the fact that we have a resistance, doesn't mean that the resistance will act as a rejection and we're going to unwind. All right. So we have to wait precise patterns for then reversing our position and even our bias. Let's follow the trend until the trend proves that the trend is, I would say, in play. Now, what I see over here is that a new seller jumped in at 177.90. So now they're like creating a wall of sellers. This is the first thing that I would say puts me the idea that, okay, we can maybe have a more pullback over here to the downside. But then look what happened. Big buyer came in. Well, he's a big buyer, 50K over here on this main support. So this is one actually that the price unwinds. And you can see over here now, new buyers are stepping in. And they removed over here. So they bought those sellers. And now they're going to go for the break of 178. So you can see when the buyer came in, the tape became strong over here. So probably, and I believe I see this a lot in the market, when a big buyer comes in, I believe that they also take partials over here just to fuel the momentum up. And then retailers are looking for a breakout, traders are looking for a breakout. And then if the breakout over here confirms that we have still volume momentum to hold, of course, this position gonna grow into a bigger position. So probably gonna hold and buy over here on dips. So we have the formation and then push more up. So let's see over here if buying pressure can go above 178, consolidate, and then an extra further move. Nice 178. And again, making more higher lows. So strong tape over here. Look all these bars, look this main support. Something like this is just like a beautiful breakout. And now the next target, 179. Looking at the hourly, remember we have the major supply area over here, 181, 183. All right. So if we are in the right direction, if our analysis is correct, if the order flow is supporting our thesis, stay with the trade. One of the main points that I always say is be patient when in a trade. And I want to bring up this 1 second, and then we're going to go right away back this. Stay calm when in a trade. Okay, so I will share this for traders in the webinar. Stay calm when in a trade. What does it mean? How many times we get panic because maybe we are trading a little bit more size than usual and we want to take profit right away. Maybe we reduce too much our position. I'm going to put this over here. Instead, that is the moment to, I would say, get all our patience that we have, focus not on the emotion, so not on really on the psychological part, but following more the strategy. Following in this case what? A sequence over here of higher lows, a sequence over here of bars holding the 90 MA, and just look at the lower time frame and the higher time frame. Another thing that is really helpful is spotting the main levels of support: 177.80, 178, 178.20. So patience when in a trade. Let's see if they're gonna consolidate more at 178. On pullback over here, 178 and 20. Remember, this is the support that we're watching. This is the previous morning high. Let's see if we're gonna hold this 178 and 10 and then push more. This is not a hard price action. This is a really easy price action over here. So dip into 90 MA. The main support at 177.80. So this area over here. Let's see if they're gonna reclaim over here the 90 MA as well. Again, you see they did this over and over and over. Reclaim of 178 and 10. Another push over here. So you can see this bar, right? So when it opens, it right away washes and then again pushes and look at the volume coming in. Big soak. So imagine if you would have shorted before just because we had the resistance 178. Stay with the trend. So now what we can do, we can raise our trailing. So we're going to use this level as our guide for the risk. Still strong over here. So we have all the odds over here to go to this previous high. On this breakout over here, we had a lot of volume. You can see the volume over here that they bought a dip. And it's this soak over here that puts the volume. So really, really strong over here. We'll probably go 179, maybe even 180. Never fight the trend in this market. Trust me, never fight the trend. This morning, my trade was counter trend on Amazon. I share with my guys over here. I showed at this level exactly after this spike, and I covered over here. And then nothing anymore. But something like Meta this morning, you cannot short. Let's see if we're going to form another higher low. So that is the high of the day, at 179. You can see over here we have some resistance, 13,000. looking for a breakout over here. That is the catalyst. Now, when we have a zone near a breakout level, a resistance, of course, we will see some short sellers jumping in near the resistance, but also the price action will be attracted by those levels. So ideally over here is where the price action will start stalling for then to check if we're gonna restart with a trend or start to reverse. And what we're doing today is the entire process on risk management. If you are in a trade, what to do, how to manage, patience, what to look for. Until we have these higher lows, you can stay in the trade. But of course, always put a protective trailing stop. Market in 2 seconds can dump, and sometimes you will remain inside the trade without having a level of risk. Always lock in partials as well. So the price goes up, start stalling, take partials. So pay yourself along the way. This doesn't mean scale out the entire position, but always pay yourself. So dipping again to the 90 MA. Remember before what we had. So it was dipping and then came down around 20 cents, started to reclaim. Now, for example, if long, this is a good level where to trail a big partial. And then if we reclaim, we can even have re-ads, like it happened here, possibly here, and more. Sorry.
Joseph, on average, how many times do you think scale into a, I know it depends, but do you find yourself scaling in, taking some profit and scaling in?
I would say when I'm in a position, I like to take profits, so I'm scaling out. But at precise levels, generally on a full size position, I will scale out 2, maximum 3 times, and then the last exit will be my main exit position. If I'm instead looking for more recycling shares, and I'm a little bit more active that day, so I find more opportunities along the way to add to a position, then 1, maximum 2. I mean, for me, it's fine, for whoever is above PDT rule. But if a trader, of course, is below PDT rule, then 1 trade, hold, and until you have, for example, or a pattern or a reversal setup. In that case, of course, you are below PDT 1 time only. But if you have the possibility to have other A+ setups to re-add along the way, yes, of course. Always be careful not to lower too much your size if short, not to raise too much your average, not to raise too much your average if long. Because let's say I'm selling, re-adding, selling, re-adding, selling, re-adding. At a certain point, let's say this will be my average, which initially, let's say, was over here. So if we have a pullback, I'm getting stopped out. While if I hold the main position from here, I can still be over here and manage with, less risk. And that is what we are saying, traders. Again, another reclaim of that 90 MA. So it's doing this all morning. Now, don't really try to find a perfect EMA because, for example, there will be stocks where you touch the 90 MA and bounces, stocks where you touch the 13 EMA and bounces and bounce, stocks where you touch the 20 EMA and bounces. So, of course, Every single stock will be different, even from day to day. Okay, just look at the price section. We form over here higher lows. Okay, good. Now that's the new relative higher low where to take the majority of the risk. And we're gonna put this exactly here. So this is the level. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the way that you lock in profit. So before what we said, if we have a break of this level, you take partial. Now, if we break this level, you get out the entire position. And of course, if you instead look for a main bigger position, like even swing, we're gonna use this as the main guide. So trailing, in this case also exits, are as important, if not more, than the entry itself. Because everybody is always focusing on the entry. And it's correct. I mean, of course, you have to have a good entry and a low risk. The better the entry, the lower the risk, and that means the bigger the size you can put. But then you have to manage the trade. And as we said before, stay calm when in a trade. Think always clear. So now catalyst. So the target where the price section, the stock itself wants to go is this. It's like a magnet now where we have over here, where we attract really the price. And you can see 179 finally got there. Right? So how many times over here you are faked that we're going to have a breakdown? And instead, with the order flow and seeing this pattern, you can still decide to stay in the position. That's the main difference. And now breaking this 179. Remember, the main target is sorry, over here. Okay, the main target is 181, all right? $179.50. Still strong, still a lot of volume. Look at those breakouts over here. We had around 300K volume, 250K volume over here per minute on that breakout. So that's very high liquidity, very strong. Now this is already a $1.30 move. So you don't want to wait that this goes down $1.30 if you are day trading. Of course, if you are swing trading, it's totally different approach. But in this case, we will trail a partial over here. Why? Because that's the relative low that we're making. We cannot wait that the price goes down and we're gonna give back $1.30 on a $4 move. Actually less, sorry, $2.50 move, I believe. The first level over here was 176. Yeah, $3 move over here. They're holding that micro dip. So now we're gonna put this as the majority of the trail. So let's say we're holding over here 70% or 60% of the entire position. 2/3 of your position over here on this break, reason to get out. And then you just manage 1/3, could be at 20-25% of the entire position you had initially, so that in case this runs to 180 and plus, you're still holding a partial. So we're very far from this 90 MA. So let's see if we're gonna have a fake out and ideally a pullback to this level. Even because we see a resistance, no, break of resistance is still a bull flag over here. So still strong. But that level of risk is important. Another push over here, 50 cents. Incredible strength over here on Meta.
Yeah, good one, Joseph.
Well, it's really a good market, really bullish, good market. I've seen like already a lot of traders around that are doing very good with the swings. So swings came back, bullish move came back. You know, for the last 3 or 4 months, there were only shorts. Now, nice bullish moves. I like this market, Bruce, a lot. Look over here. We're going to that hourly level. Look, this resistance over here. So they just went over there. They tried to absorb. Okay, they bought into this resistance and then boom, clear out. And they didn't even like consolidate above. They're just like strong. They're just like pushing. Everybody wants to buy it over here. So now they're pointing to this 181, 184 area. And why I say this is an area? Because look how many times over here we rejected for 2 days. So that is the area that we're looking at. Okay, so this 181 and 183 area. A really strong bullish move, beautiful. And Meta does really these moves. Dotted day, long setup over here, 168 and 50, and came almost 10 points up. And this morning, even more. First, we had the CPI over here at 830. And then over here this morning, dip 174, now 180. But we started the pre-market very early, 169, 170. So this went up today, about 11, 12 points for now.
Phil is asking if maybe you can look at Apple or Microsoft in comparison.
Yes. The plan this morning, Bruce, on Microsoft and Amazon. You said Microsoft and Apple, sorry. The plan over here was to look for a long. They are still lethargic. So let's look at this 1 minute. And they basically did the same thing Amazon did. They pushed into this pre-market high. They had a fake out of the level, and then they were sideways all morning. So the difference is that on Meta, we had a pullback and then starting pushing back up again. But actually, the first push, we created an uptrend. Over here, instead, we went back to the open level and even below. So major pullback to a fib level over here. Microsoft, the same exact thing. Sideways action all morning. So for example, these were two of the stocks that I was watching this morning for a possible long scenario, but until now, there's no A plus setup long. I mean, there was an A plus setup, this over here, but it's just a scratch, a break-even trade, nothing more than that. I was looking also at BA that worked, I would say, perfectly. This was in my plan over here to long, perfect morning scenario over here, and beautiful dips over here. This is another one that is climbing pretty strong. I like the price action that we're having on BA lately. This is Tesla instead. Morning shorts, some beautiful pattern shorts we had. I didn't trade Tesla. So still
it's
holding this dip.
kind of a mixed bag.
Yep. Yep. So Meta is following really good over here. Sorry, Meta has over here a very great daily breakout and high relative strength. Others are still like, as I said before, lethargic. They're still like waiting more momentum. ES seems the photocopy of BA. I mean, better. BA seems the photocopy of ES. If we compare it, there's really almost the same. And the best one that is following ES over here is BA and Meta. Really the two best ones over here. So right now we're forming another higher low. This is it, 179 and 60. Some liquidity above, but what I think over here, Bruce, is that we're going to have another massive 180 breakout. Let's see over here, 180. Now a little bit more supply over here came in. Let's see how it reacts. They bought the supply over here, so they clear out that 179 and 90. They're trying to form some resistance, but this is very weak. 2,000 shares, 3,000 shares. So let's see if we're going to break 180. Then target will going to be 180.50. They're testing the 180. Support 179 and 80. And that is the main trail for the day. Why? Because we had this first relative low and we are having a breakdown to the downside of the relative low. So that is a major profit taking of the day. So now looking over here at the price action, the main support of 179. So this previous dip before we had this price action. So that level over here is this level over here. Okay, let's change 1 second over here. And I'm going to CLWT. I'm holding a position short on this one. So we're talking about a small cap over here. Let's see the stats on this. So we're talking about a microflow 3 million. SSR on, so short sale restriction. We had a high volume trade over here is 33 million. So we're talking about a 10 times flow rotation. So 10 times the float was bought in. Low institutional ownership and no news on the stock. No news on the stock. Just want to see 1 second overview. Pollution and treatment controlled industrials. Market cap 11 million. Financial, this is the company. We have 5 million cash. And what I like are the stats, because on 9 gaps, 7 times, so we're talking about a 78%, we closed right on the day with average extension 23%. This is one of the reason why we shorted exactly this 260. And the average extension was, as we said, 23%. We had an extension today of 20%. This extension was over here. I did all this in the pre-market. Now my main point over here is to look if low volume continues to be low volume over here. So we're gonna hold for a major 170 or 180 target. On Bookmap, we had confirmation. And this is the pattern that I trade generally lately. So at the gate on these gap and extension plays, we have an extension above the pre-market high, which is this white level, massive volume. So don't really try to counter trend over here, to short counter trend, but wait instead a first lower high. And generally you will see over here a supply area, so some liquidity area that it jumps in this case 258. This gives us a low risk entry. When we have the lower high, then I can decide to start my position with the lower risk. While instead, I see a lot of traders that are just shorting over here while the trend is going up, while the stock is going up. Don't enter early. I will share this also position on later. I already shared in the room, but I will share also on the socials. The point over here for me is looking for this massive area of sellers. And how I can see over here sellers. Well, this is so easy. Sellers over here 258. Sellers over here 258. So each time this came up, we had a good reason to short. So beautiful, really price section over here this morning. But again, I want to focus with you traders on Meta so we can have a full morning session on big caps and the risk management to apply. So we said over here to get out the majority of the position if long. Why? Because of this important relative low. So you can see one here, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And look what happened. We went back to that support. Remember what we said. If we break this, there's high chance we go 179. Previous high, this was the high of the day, morning, and also we had over here a big heat map. So all things aligned together. Now, am I going to long over here? No. Why? Because we're still in this pullback, major pullback in this downtrend, and we're having these bear flags. So if we break 179, there's space to go 178 and 40. So let's follow over here the price action. They're holding that 179, but there's not really that much liquidity. 3,000 with all what they bought over here. If they want to take more profit, this can easily unwind at 178 and 40, which is this previous support over here. This zone over here. You see this relative low, 178 and 40. $179. So we broke that 179. Let's see. A big soak over here. Around 74,000 shares were traded in this spot. 179, yeah, 75,000 shares, 74,000 shares. So pretty good volume. So 179, you can see going below, reclaiming, going below, reclaiming, even a fake breakdown over here. So when I see these fake breakdowns, if we start consolidating over here, prepare for our next move. If instead we break this level, prepare for this unwind. They're creating some support below. Just look over here. And now we are with really no edge. Sellers and buyers 50-50. They're buying this level, they're selling in this level. Want to go over to second trader CLWT because we can have a possibly stuff and react to the short. Look for this possibly 230 fake out and then unwind below 230. So let's see, for now they're holding. Volume is simply very low over here. But remember, SSR means it can really push in few seconds over here, even to 240, 250. So always be careful when you have an SSR.
This with the SSR though, it's like this stuff is exactly how people get filled.
Yes. The point is, if we want to get in short at this peak, risking, for example, this 229, then we have to short on the ask.
Right.
So you always have to short often before the move. That's the reason why it's very hard, it's very risky. So now they're finding more volume over here. So clear out that 230. So next level to us, this is 243. My average is pretty high. This is the zone where I shorted, and this 260. So I'm having 256 average. And now my trail is 245 for the entire position. And I already took partial profit here and here. So a lot of times we'll see these curl breakouts, Bruce, and then they're gonna fill more over here again. We're at the open level and we're below the pre-market high by 11:30. So it's still a good area for us to stay in short using a correct risk management.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting. I mean, you can like start to understand these SSRs really well and be a specialist in them potentially.
Yeah,
Because you know other people are just going to get killed.
yeah. Generally, you get killed shorting these early front side or buying these on the breakouts.
Hmm.
So this is something never to do. Never short something front side on SSR with high volume. Okay. Different is, for example, if you want to long, buying dips is very good instead on an SSR when we have high volume. Meta still did 179 over there, really stalling the tape. Last over here, 10 minutes.
Yeah, great read on Meta.
Yeah. System, strategy, order flow, management is, I think, is the way to go. Please have seen the results from traders. They are following this way to trade with Bookmap. Pretty good liquidity over here, Bruce. Look, this 236, 237, 240, 244, 250. And just look at the support that we have below. So really a large imbalance over here, right? If we put over here the cumulative volume, traders, you will see over here, now I don't have up just because I have too many up, right? And it will simply use too many resources of my computer. And also I suggest you not to use the same Bookmap on the computer that you have with the brokers, if it's possible, of course, if it's possible. Otherwise, reduce just like the amount of windows that you have. But over here, we see a good imbalance, right? So let's put this, for example, with a COB over here. And let's put aggregate. So that is the imbalance. The price right now is 230. All right, let's calculate 20 cents. In 20 cents, we have 200,000 shares. In 20 cents over here, we have 74,000 shares. So we're almost looking for 3-to-1 supply versus demand. Got it, traders? Let me know if this is clear. So basically what tells you it's weaker as a stock for the huge amount of difference, divergence that we have between supply and demand. And there we go. Boom. So you see over here, they're finally dumped on that weak attempt over here to push. And now we're going to look for what? Low volume, sellers in, failed again with the VWAP. Okay, let's see if we can have more unwind. Okay, Bruce, 11:30. Any questions over here?
Let me take a quick look. Do you use Hero, the options from Spot Gamma, that indicator on stocks like Meta?
Sorry, Bruce. I can you repeat, please?
Yeah, so there's a one of our partners has an indicator from Spot
Okay.
Gamma. I don't know if I have shown it to you yet, but I think I've talked about it. And anyway, yeah, that's what
Okay.
Bert
No,
is
Bert,
asking.
I don't use it over here.
And let's see, Phil is asking about, yeah, Phil, we're not going to, we've done this before in the past. and it's just atrocious. It's just a nightmare to offer a 30-day or even a 2-week trial of Bookmap with data, etc. Everyone tries to game the system, and then say, well, I had it, now I don't, and then I was away on vacation. I mean, it's a nightmare. So it is much, much better to we have a free version. It offers a very good overview of Bookmap, and if you want more than that, you get all the data actually. You can look at stocks. It's delayed. You can look at futures. It's delayed, and one cryptocurrency is free. So it's a pretty good offering. It gives you a good overview of Bookmap. If you want more, then get it. So that's what we've gone with, and I think it works pretty well. But appreciate your comment there, Joseph. No, other than that, I think we're all set. Thank you very much. Some really excellent overview on Meta here, and
Today was a day about risk management, I believe. So explaining how to stay in a position when we have a good trend, how to manage a position, what are the best levels to trail, how to use Bookmap for possible reads or looking for the supply. For example, this last supply that we had at the 180 when we started seeing like more sellers stacked. So I think valid lesson for a lot of members today.
absolutely. One question I had on these SSR stocks here. So with an SSR, you cannot enter short unless it's on the offer.
Exactly. You always
Okay,
have to add liquidity.
but you can
Yeah.
exit with a stop,
Yes.
a,
Yes.
a sell, like a stop loss.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, it's just a really interesting dynamic there to try to get people to get stopped out. Uh, yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah,
just, I believe, requires a little bit more of attention, because everybody maybe wants to short the bid when you see like a good pattern,
yeah,
but then you realize that you cannot actually short the bid, so you miss the opportunity, and maybe you start like chasing lower, 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 and then you end up buying the dip while instead you have to short the pop, or vice versa. You cannot really buy into the breakout, especially on SSR, because like we've seen over here, what they're gonna do, they're gonna try to stuff a lot of times. So you're buying a breakout, you're killed,
yeah,
and instead you have to buy at least the bids. So sorry, the weakness, you have to buy the dips over here, and of course, much better if you buy also into the bid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a interesting one. So no, I think that's it, Joseph. Thank you very much, and we'll connect with you next Wednesday.
Thank you very much, traders. Thank you, Bruce. Bookmap. See you again next week. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.